Okay. You ready?
Ready?
Hello, welcome to the 5th episode of the ExtraCasual podcast with Ashton
And Gavin.
You want to know a fun fact?
Asking them or are you asking me?
You.
Sure.
When this episode comes out, we've been doing this for over a month.
Huh. We have.
Did you realize that?
Yeah. Man, time really flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot, but actually, 5 episode a week.
Yeah. 5 episodes, 5 weeks. That's a month right there.
Yeah. Can't wait until we get into the higher numbers and we look back.
Yeah.
I wonder how the audio's the recording wise is going to be quality compared to now and then.
I think we'll be I guess a lot more used to it. We'll probably speak a bit more clearly, be able to conjure up sentences a bit better.
And maybe not say thousands of times.
Yeah, and
sorry to whoever I just ruined by saying that.
Yeah, and not stumble our way through sentences, just kind of thinking of what to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's hop into our first topic.
Yep.
Now, you guys probably don't know this, but I'm a pretty big fan of the game Dungeons and Dragons.
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. This is in the
Satanist.
80s. At least not anymore. Let's see. This is an article titled "The Nerdiest Record Ever. The Utah Dungeons and Dragons game breaks world record."
I wonder what this is going to be about.
Yeah.
Actually, let's guess quickly. What do you think it's going to be about?
I'm going to say most people in a game.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Well, let's get to reading.
Let's place our bets.
Okay. PROVO, or Provo. Players of all ages don their elf ears, capes, and armors to roll dice in their favorites Saturday, and as more than 1,000 sought to break the Guinness World Record for largest D&D game ever played. 1,000 people. That's a lot.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Dude,
how do you communicate to the whole party with that amount?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard enough getting 2 people together. Yeah, I know this because I'm trying to run a campaign, and we do it basically bi-monthly, because we still haven't had a session this month. And it's so difficult.
Everyone
to get
has
even
their
2
own
people.
schedules.
I have to work around it, and then sometimes things just pop up randomly.
Now just imagine that by those 2 people times 500, and there you go.
Anyway, it was broken, but not without years of preparation, I bet. I always wanted to host the biggest game of Dungeons and Dragons, but that was kind of a silly dream, event organizer Andrew Ashby said. Ashby's family started a game store business at the Provo Town Center called We Geek Together, which makes you feel like you just stepped a foot into medieval tavern or Renaissance fair. I actually went to the Renaissance fair earlier this year. You did too, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was fun. Mall official.
It was okay.
Yeah. Got some jewelry. Bought something for my mom.
Yeah, it's really cool to see people go around in there.
Yeah.
I guess you'd say cosplay.
Yeah, medieval cosplay.
But sometimes the prices are just absurd.
People gotta make a living somehow, I suppose.
No.
Let's see. Mall officials told Ashby if he ever wanted to do a large event, they could work with them, which made Ashby realize his dream from 8 years ago could become a reality. To achieve the Guinness World Record, Ashby learned he would need at least 500 people to play the game at the same time. He saved up a lot of money so he could host Dead Wars, the largest D&D campaign. He had 200 tables, a max of 7 people on each table, all for free. Wow.
So, to beat the record, you need at least 500 people.
Oh, that was before they broke it. Here, scroll down.
So he just wanted to double it.
The official count of players ended up be 1227 or 1,227, more than enough to set a new Guinness World Record. It hasn't hit me yet. So far, it's been a dream, an absolute dream. Ashby said that D&D community is very nerdy and very supportive. There's very little advertising for Saturday's event. The majority of people who came heard about it by word of mouth. Ashby said that he couldn't have done it without all the support from participants. Yeah. Word of mouth really is really effective. Like, if you go back to like 2009, or roughly when Modern Warfare 2 came out, like that was like one of the most effective forms of advertising, because Activision didn't have that big of a budget for it. People just started talking about how much they like the game, and it spread like wildfire.
Yeah, because then tell one person, and that one person tells two people, then those two people have a chance to tell like even 3 more people.
Spreads to friends of friends, more friends, family. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. A world record here in Provo. It's the nerdiest world record ever, Ashby said. Each table had a dungeon master and represented an area of a battlefield. All the tables worked together to defeat the campaign's villain, Vecna, and his undead army. Oh yeah. For all those people that think thinking of Stranger Things, D&D Vecna came first, which is self-explanatory. I mean, the Demogorgon is from D&D. The Mind Flayers is originally from D&D. Vecna is originally from D&D. So yeah, head dungeon master Dax Levine was in charge of connecting the stories of each table together into one giant epic battle. Halfway through the game, he went on stage to tell everyone Vecna had broken down the city's walls and was calling the city to hand over their goddess. This is one hell of a campaign. That sounds really fun. The energy has been electric. People are shouting, cheering, and people are booing me when I told them the wall fell. I love that. People take D&D very seriously.
Just imagine how pissed like a group would have been if they're like, Vecna destroyed this table or this group right here, and then like they're all just instantly dead.
It doesn't exactly work like that. Like, you can't just say, all these people are dead. There's usually a ton of rolling of dice. People can technicality the worries out if they know how. And if there's like 1,000 people being players, more than with 17 per table. I'm pretty sure they'd all work together, and they'd have. I wonder. Man.
Can you revive?
Yeah, there's certain spells. There's Revivify, which is literally you get revived with 1 HP. There's definitely a few. And also, if you hit 0 HP, you don't immediately die. You get put unconscious. Then you start rolling death saves, which if you fail 3 death saves in a row, well, not in a row, just in general, you die. Let's see. Anyway, back to the article. Levine started Dungeon Master Direct in February 2020. He got so busy with the business during the pandemic that he quit his day job as now a professional Dungeon Master full-time. He said Dead Wars was especially fun for him, as everyone was playing in person together rather than online. I remember during the early stages of the pandemic, me and the other 2 people I mentioned that I played D&D with actually played online. Kind of online. Yeah. Let's see. Janie Eastman was a live-action role-player who acted as a general in the army. She said the organizers wanted to add some live-action role-play elements because it's a big deal in the Dungeons & Dragons community. She and the other generals were dressed up and wandered between tables to act as moderators to keep things orderly and connected across the entire battlefield. It's fun to think... Yeah, it's fun that there's such an awesome D&D community out there in Utah. I think it's really fun for people to connect, Eastman said. It's been a big deal in my life to connect with so many other amazing people. Eastman said in the past few years, D&D has become more accepted rather than being viewed as a classic 80s movie nerd game.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't really play it much, but the accessibility is way easier now, I would say, than back then.
Yeah.
Like, even modern, like, games and, like, shows have, like... So the way D&D works, from my understanding, is it's extremely universal.
Yeah.
Like, you can create your own... Well, you can create your own character, you give it its own stats, like, within a certain range. Yeah, then you can create bosses, like, custom bosses, or there's even, like, official, like, other licensed, like... enemies with their own like HP and everything. Or like the Terraria D&D set
that exists.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I'm pretty sure there's an official Terraria D&D. What would you call it?
I don't know, like
D&D sheet.
Yeah, D&D kit, probably.
Yeah. Isn't there a Minecraft one too?
I don't think so, but there is a Minecraft, like, they're doing a crossover with the D&D movie that came out recently, Honor Among Thieves. Yeah. I think you'd really like Dungeons and Dragons. It's pretty complicated, but, you know, as long as you, kind of just get the basics down, you can always just ask, like, you know, whoever's the dungeon master, you know, about specific things that he does for his campaigns or whatever.
Yeah.
And, as someone who DMs, I can be pretty lenient with what my players do. Yeah.
Just let it slide under the carpet.
I can only usually let so much slide. Or else, I'll end up losing control. Like, erase the amount of control I should be allotting myself.
I have a question about, like, the Dungeon Master.
What about
This might be a question for other people, too. So, the point of the Dungeon Master, is he supposed to try to wipe out the party, or is he just there to like, aid them in their adventure?
The DM is basically the narrator. And
so you can choose to be mean or not?
Yeah. I remember, like, I have a specific philosophy about it where, it's okay to be mean to players, but you should always try to be fair to them. Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, if you
don't want to just add a random obstacle.
Yeah. Well, like, it's not, I think a lot of people would agree that it wouldn't be fair to spring a random, like, super boss on, like, a level 3 party.
Level 50 boss just walked into the arena.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't go that high. I think, like, the highest it goes is 20. I mean, I guess it very well could. Like, again, for example, in my campaign, I've actually had to consider nerfing the enemies because the two players were getting murked, so to speak, by them. I've had to, like, legit show mercy because I didn't want to completely wipe those two out in the first session.
I just thought of a really cool concept that will probably happen in the future.
What?
AI Dungeon Master.
I think that could already be a thing.
Like, imagine you could program, like, the Dungeon Master to be, like, more lenient, or, like, choose it to be, like, more strict.
Yeah, give it, like, specific rule sets based off, like, spells. Mm-hmm. Or, I guess just specific mechanics.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, that is definitely a possible future. The thing is that of course it's AI, it's bound to make mistakes, probably a lot, because it can't really make, like, specific decisions on the fly, or you can't really convince him to change his mind like you could do with a human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, really got taken away when I saw the situation, he said. I rushed to a craft store, went all out buying supplies to build a really cool map to make sure it was as memorable as possible. His wife and daughter helped him create the map, staying up till 2 a.m., Thursday, gluing and painting. His daughter joined him playing the game. Saturday, and Nelson said it'd be cool to be part of something really big.
Yeah. Okay, so from what I'm seeing from this picture, so it looks like they're making like a replica, you'd say, or like a design out of wood.
Yeah.
And then they have, what is that to the left? That's the dice roller.
Like the little palette, like
wood
that's yellow.
The thing behind it.
Oh, it could be. It could also just be part of like the environment.
Because I've seen things like that before, like on YouTube and everything, where instead of just physically rolling the dice, you just drop in like a thing and it'll randomize it.
Yeah, dice towers. Yeah, those are good because your dice won't roll off the table. You don't have to go scrambling. Yeah.
That looks like that's the end of the article. Yeah. I got a question.
Alright, shoot.
What would be, like, you could pick, like, any franchise, but you have to have it based off the franchise, like the journey? Not journey, like, what would you call it?
Like, storyline?
Yeah, you have to pick off of the game franchise, but what, like, D&D campaign would you make with that game?
Huh. Well, the thing is with that is that, depending on what it is, it could, like, allow... Too much freedom isn't exactly the word, but it could be so wide-margined that, it could take, like, sessions upon sessions just to get to, like, place one, and most of those sessions should just be them traveling, encountering random things. But I guess in terms of that, maybe a Dying Light based one. Like, probably the second one.
That's creative.
Yeah. Like, I think I even remember having, like, an original concept, too. Like, I didn't write any enemy stats, but I had, like, a durability system set up for weapons where, like, it basically be like ammunition for, in the base game for, like, bows and whatnot. Where, like, one use would equal, one durability lost. They could modify their weapons with, like, stuff they've looted. I'm not really sure how I would do the magic characters, but the people I play with don't do magic because they think it's stupid. Which might add...
I mean, it sounds like the magic would add extra, like, thinking and steps to it.
The thing is that, it's just a few simple questions, and you just have to understand the spell that you're using. Like, I mean, for example, there's literally a spell called Mending, which allows you to fix certain things, like if the break or tear or whatever isn't too big. Yeah, which, I remember I used that as a trick because... There's another trick where it involves shoving a ton of magic missiles instead of a bag of holding and unleashing it on a target.
I heard about this.
Yeah, the DM, who is one of the people that is playing in my campaign, tried to penalize me by having the bag of holding start to break, but I just used the mending spell on it. Let's just say I did not get that bag of holding back.
Let's just say you weren't invited to that session anymore.
No. It's just thing. I was one of the... without me, you'd only have one person to DM. And I'm the person that will actually show up regularly. I think... Yeah, like I said, I think you would really like D&D. I could imagine you getting into, like, all the technicals of the different classes.
My God. I would... You've heard me, like, argue and just, like, come up with random stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if I were to get my hands on that game and like take it like extremely serious and like try hard, there would be no way of defeating me.
It depends, because as per usual, there's always limits put in place. Like,
I will find a way around the limits.
I mean, for a big example, DM's word is final. Whatever your dungeon master says happens. You can't change it no matter what. Unless you somehow manage to change their mind to the point where he/she/they would allow it.
Do you know how I changed their mind?
What?
Is there any time reverse spell?
No, but there is a time stopping spell. But you take 1d6 worth of true damage. But the thing is that allows for a lot of broken combo potential, because you can just take your turn over and over again. It's casting 5th level spells that deal crap loads of damage.
I was just gonna say reverse time, and then be like, you gotta roll a nat 20, and then I just roll a nat 20 every single time.
No, there's nothing like that. Although there is a feat, which is not a character, it's a thing where, depending on what race you pick, you can have more than one, or there's even race specific feats. And there's one that I like is called Lucky, which is a very newbie trait, but I don't really care. Which basically, you're allowed to, 3 times every day, you're allowed to make anyone re-roll a d20 roll. Well, anyone as in you, or someone trying to attack you. The thing is the funny part, whenever I played, and I took that feat, it wouldn't actually usually be me spending them, because we had the system in place where I'm allowed to give my lucky stacks to another person if they need it. So lo and behold, the other person I played with would always ask me for a lucky stack whenever they rolled poorly. And I would give it to them.
I'm trying to think of what game I would base it off of. Ooh, I found one. It's in the same, I guess, genre. I guess I'm assuming, D&D is an RPG-esque.
Yeah, tabletop RPG.
This one's gonna sound so obvious, but Pokemon. Imagine setting that up where you have all the Pokemon have their own stats and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then the legendaries are just the bosses.
Yeah.
And then you visit, or you could literally just, you don't even have to make a map. Usually you would make your own map and levels and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You could just take it off of one of the old gen maps or something.
Yeah.
Be forced to go a certain route, or you could split at certain spots.
It could be very interesting, but I think it probably had to be definitely a lot more gritty than the games than the Pokemon games actually are, because you can literally decapitate people, or
fucking shocks the shit out of a Magikarp.
Yeah.
Turns it into food that you can carry along for the rest of your journey.
Yeah. And there's literally a spell called Power Word Kill, which if any entity is under 100 health, or 100 health or less, you can just kill them instantly.
So it's just the Avada Kedavra.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why, but I think I could see you definitely playing a warlock or something. It just kind of fits, I guess.
When I play RPGs, I am a basic bitch.
Nah, so you're gonna choose fighter. That's the most basic bitch class out there.
I basically just play Dark Souls. I'm not gonna do any magic. I'm literally just gonna play soldier, maybe one hand, two hand, wielding. Skyrim, I picked Nord 3 times.
Alright.
And then I picked Khajiit once. Don't really get into all the spell stuff, really.
Well, that's another martial class under the belt if you actually do decide to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we should probably move on from D&D.
Okay, this one is my topic, and we're gonna go back to older games and talk about that for a little bit. So, the name of this article is 5 legendary Nintendo games that we want to see on the Switch. Before we go down this article, what are 5 games that you'd like to see on the Switch, Kevin?
The thing is I don't own a Switch, so I don't really care, but I guess if I did own one, I think Earthbound's already on there, so that won't really count. Actually, I think I'm gonna go with the entire Mario and Luigi series. So Superstar Saga, Partners in Time, Bowser's Inside Story, Dream Team, and Paper Jam.
That's a good one. A game that I'm dying to see. People may have forgot about this because it was on the Wii. Park 2. That game is very different from the original Pokemon games. Basically, you're like the black and white starter Pokemon in the second one. So, you start off with Pikachu, and then you befriend Oshawott. Oh god, I'm gonna get butchered for getting all these wrong. Wait, no. Oshawott, Snivy, Tepig.
Yep, those are the three.
And, you basically befriend them, and then they have their own, like, abilities. Like, Snivy can double jump, Tepig can, like, run faster and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way you collect them all in that game, or, like, you know, get them all, is you just befriend them by doing, like, hide and seek and defeating them in Pokemon battles, which are literally just, like, run at them and spam the attack button until you win. But I would love to see a third game of that, or just they port it to the Switch, because if that does come out on the Switch, if it was like $70, I'd still buy it.
Yeah. Actually, I actually thought of a few more that I'd like to see on the Switch, and those would be like the unless like I think one might be on there, but the second one I'm naming definitely isn't. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror and Kirby Squeak Squad. Those are like two like pretty old Kirby games. Like
what era?
Amazing Mirror was like Game Boy Advance, and Squeak Squad was like early DS.
I don't know those ones.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because I'm like a Kirby fan too.
I remember watching like YouTube videos on those games when I was a kid, and just, you know, just thinking they're so cool.
Yeah. Let's see what people want on the Switch according to this article.
Yeah.
5 legendary Nintendo Switch games I want to see on the Switch. The Nintendo Switch has become a beacon of both modern and retro gaming thanks to its hybrid play on TV and on-the-go capabilities, as well as its extensive library. Its catalog includes not just modern, indie, and AAA releases, sometimes with notable compromises, but also a backlog to classics thanks to re-releases, remasters, and an assortment of classic console offerings via Switch Online. And yet, despite the vast array of first and third-party titles from about every Nintendo era, the Switch is still lacking some very notable choices. It's something that will hopefully be rectified with more time, as well as we've seen with the recent addition to Game Boy and GBA libraries that are still expanding. With all that said, here are 5 for beloved Nintendo, either first party or exclusive favorites that are sorely needed on the Switch in one form or another, meaning like games that are already playable through subscription plans like Super Metroid on Switch Online, One Stop, series assortments like Castlevania Anniversary Collection, and remasters like the recent Metroid Prime Remastered won't count. Okay, so it's like, if it can be accessed in any way, it's not going to be on this list.
Yeah, at least through like Switch Online services.
How the hell do you say that?
Foxanadu?
Foxanadu by Hudson Soft. First released on the original Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, in 1998, Foxanadu offering a side-scrolling platforming adventure with an RPG twist. The world tree is in trouble, your town's water supply is dried up, and there are monsters about. As always, it's your job to climb the world tree and set things right before the town is gone forever. So, classic RPG at the time.
Yeah, and it's always a world tree too. Why can't it be like a world rock or something?
Because the tree simulates life. I don't know.
The life hole. Just a big old pit in the ground.
The life pit. You want to live forever, you jump in the pit. Then we don't know if you're alive or dead. The mystery pit.
Yeah.
As you ascend the tree, you'll come up with a number of other villagers and strongholds Typically, at some well-stocked shops, you can purchase new spells and equipment, because without them you'll have a tough time getting past the monstrous legions that have infested the tree's giant branches. So you're telling me the whole game takes part on a giant tree?
Sounds like it.
Is this just like an ant's POV of like a normal tree?
Could be.
Oh my gosh. Faxanadu did receive a re-release of a sort, by the way, of the Wii Virtual Console in 2011, but hasn't been seen on Nintendo Switch console since, not even on the SNES Classic Edition, despite its extensive assortment of pre-installed favorites. Ooh, this next one.
Yeah.
This one's on Steam, actually, this next one.
Uh-huh.
But I'm pretty sure it's a bad port.
Yep.
The next one is Chrono Trigger, made by Squaresoft. Also, I'm pretty sure that's Square Enix now. If it's not, I'm sorry, don't sue me.
Yeah, it was Squaresoft, then it turned into Square Enix somewhere along the way.
Yeah. Chrono Trigger hit the American SNES in 1995 and has stayed firmly at the top of many RPG fans' best lists ever since. As the name implies, it's a time-hopping adventure featuring a cast of characters from throughout the world's history against a seemingly insurmountable threat from beyond the stars. So it's like a bunch of people along history attacking God.
That kind of. It's more of a... to prevent a world-ending event. Basically, the apocalypse.
The game featured a now celebrated attack time battle system, ATB, that gives enemies the opportunity to attack whenever or not when you're still deciding what actions to take. And the extensive cast of playable characters, you could learn a number of special techniques and combination attacks that would often make the difference in a fight. Add to that multiple endings and key events that would sometimes change based on your previous actions, and you have an action RPG, for the lack of a better term, ahead of its time. Character designs from Akira Toriyama, Dragon Ball, ETAL didn't hurt either. It's sad that this game came out in 1995, and in some ways, it's still doing better than RPGs now.
Well, there's the thing. Back then, game makers actually had to kind of care for the product that they make. I mean, now there's always going to be that, day one patch, or, there's going to be content that should have been in the game at launch.
DLC to add, more characters and events.
Mm-hmm.
What makes the distinct lack of Chrono Trigger on the Switch more painful is that it's been released on so many other platforms over the past several decades. Yep, like on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of the SNES, you can find it on PlayStation, Steam, both the Wii and Nintendo DS, and even smartphones. But no Switch yet, despite the game's pseudo-sequel Chrono Cross releasing its own HD remaster in 2022.
Yeah, I'm ready about that.
So the Switch is just getting, nothing end of the stick.
Yeah. Apparently the DS port of Chrono Trigger has been known as the best one of all of them, so...
Man, I don't think it would be that hard to put it over, but I guess they just don't want to, or, they're saving it for something, I guess.
Who knows?
Or it's just they don't think much people will care about it.
I mean, the thing is that there's been many planned direct sequels to Chrono Trigger, but they've always turned into something else, right at the last second, basically. And just so happens, all of the things that they turned into, I think, were flops. So...
It's good that they didn't put it under Chrono Trigger, then.
Yeah.
Next one. Metroid Zero Mission, Nintendo. There are a lot of Metroid games available on the Switch right now, from the NES original to the remaster of Samus. First-person outing on the GameCube, plus first new Metroid title in years. by the way of Metroid Dread, and yet the Super Metroid remake of the NES Classic and the Game Boy's Metro Zero Mission from 2004 is nowhere to be found. Yeah, I remember, I think it was Dread. Like, they announced it a long time ago, and then it never came out.
Until recently, I guess.
Yeah, and then it came out like a launch, and just like Fire Emblem kind of just went into the pile of Nintendo games.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I would say I've heard good things, but I haven't heard anything about it.
I usually only see like the comparison videos of like the original compared to the one on the Switch.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really see. Sometimes I don't even see reviews for that stuff.
Yeah.
But back to where was I? Oh, Zero Mission is by many accounts one of the GBA's biggest hits, thanks to its refinement of not only the series' 2D search action formula, but its reworking of the 1987 original's everything. This is, for all intents and purposes, the first Metroid all over again, but now with a bevy of improved graphics, so many gameplay mechanics, an expanded map of the planet Zebes.
Sounds about right.
Sorry, Metroid fans, if I said that wrong. And an unexpected twist towards the game's later half that you should avoid spoiling for yourself if you can help it. Huh. So they expanded the original one?
Sounds like it.
In Zero Mission?
Yeah. Yeah, I know nothing of this game, and I guess just a random guess. I'm going to say the twist has something involving a clone, which I know it's not, but that's my guess.
It's always a clone. I'm not even done with this one, and look at the one under it.
Yeah.
What even is that? What the fuck even is that?
I don't know.
Okay, let's finish this one. Playing Metroid Zero on anything other than the GBA was a bit of a challenge for many for quite some time. Because even though Nintendo did re-release it kind of as a digital download for early DS adapters, everyone else had to wait until 2016 for it to come out to the Wii U Virtual Console. Though in fairness, there are rumblings that Zero Mission may just make its way to the Switch now that GBA games are part of the Switch Online expansion. They got 2 more to go.
Alright.
Chibi Robo Plug-in Adventure. Nintendo.
I know nothing about this game series.
Hold on. Chibi Robo. What was it called?
Plug-in
Adventure.
Plug-into Adventure.
Plug-into Adventure. Even after searching this up, I don't know what this is.
I think it is. It's like, I think it's supposed to be like something similar to Banjo-Kazooie.
I could see it, yeah. It's just I can't even, like, you may not know a lot about like a franchise and you could still like understand it. Like, you could be like, oh, that's that person from that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
It's just like a tin robot with like skinny arms and legs.
With a plug for a head.
Huh. Okay. Back to the article. Nintendo's GameCube played a host to a spectacular number of absolute bangers over the span of its lifetime, many of which have been given ports and remakes on the Switch. 2006's Chibi Robo Plug-in Adventure has received no such love, not even for its often malign spin-offs. In fact, aside from the limited release for the Wii in Japan and Taiwan back in 2009, the original Chibi Robo hasn't seen the light of day since its initial launch.
This article has negative 100 social credit.
Yep. I'm going to put this on the website of shame list. What was the other one that had it?
What?
I don't even care to think about it because it was a bad article. Was it the Disney one last? Was that? 3rd episode?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Website is Shamboard. This one's up there now too. Chibi Robo puts you in control of the diminutive automation who exists to make his family, i.e. owners, happy. And to do this, you have to clean everything. A lot. While it sounds like a chore, because technically it is, Chibi Robo garnered an enthusiastic following because it made cleaning fun and interesting. That just reminds me of like Stardew. Stardew Valley just seems like a game where it's like, you're telling me I just have to sit here, farm crops like a farmer.
Yeah, farm crops, fish, forage, and mine.
It sounds like a chore, but then I guess once you get into it, like this game, from what people are saying, it actually gets decently interesting.
Yeah.
Garner, fun, interesting. Picking up gum wrappers off the floor is mundane, sure, but you're only 4 inches tall and become something of an adventure. Add it to that steadily expanding variety of tools, a growing number of robo abilities let you explore more and more areas of the house, toys that come to life at night, and you have yourself a very charming to-do list. The more and more I'm hearing this, it kind of sounds like Little Big Planet, but like it's like a chore simulator.
Interesting.
Okay. The tragedy of Chibi Robo is that the sequels never quite measured up. The series as a whole seems like it might be finished, but if Switch Online ever gets a GameCube library, here's to hoping that includes the little guy. I mean, for the fans, I hope that it gets on there.
Yeah.
Maybe see like more people coming towards it, so then people would actually recognize the character.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the last one. And then we got an amazing topic after this one too.
Yeah.
Okay. The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. The Switch is an absolute Zelda machine, with almost every single game in the series available as an eShop purchase or Nintendo Online package deal. Especially now that the Game Boy and GBA have been added, and yet one of the fan-favoritist games of the whole franchise, 2003's The Wind Waker, is missing despite the less acclaimed Skyward Sword receiving an HD treatment in 2021. Wind Waker was a bit decisive at first due to the far more cartoonish visuals and depiction of the series' protagonist Link as more of an obvious child, but long before it became a hit and just about anyone willing to look up the past superficial, eventually most people changed their minds about the art too. What's more, the game already had a very well received HD port in 2013 for the Wii U, which sharpened up the graphics and made the late game grind less irritating, added some new elements that were built around the Wii U's unique control scheme. So the HD version already exists, though it would probably need some touching up since it's been a decade, and various motion control centric additions likely still work just as well thanks to Nintendo Switch's Joy-Cons. But still, no Wind Waker. A 20-year-old anniversary seems like a perfect time for a Nintendo hit. Zelda fans with a bombshell. One that isn't related to Tears of the Kingdom, but all we can do is keep our fingers crossed.
I want to hear a bit of a hot take. I'm not a fan of the Zelda series.
There's two games that I can stand behind that I've played, and I've tried to play, let's see, which one was it? Skyward Sword. I didn't really like it, but two that I can stand behind is Twilight Princess and A Link to the Past.
The only Zelda game I've played is Ocarina of Time, which I heard is, well, I think it's considered widely to be the best Zelda game of all of them. Like, maybe aside from Breath of the Wild now. But the thing is that in terms of games like those, I have a very direct play style where I just want to kind of, like, finger on my pulse, just start going. Yeah. And the fact that, I don't know, I'm just not good with exploration, where...
And there's like a puzzle that takes forever to figure out and stuff like that.
That's why I kind of shied away from Elden Ring too, where the fact that there is like so much to do and explore, I find it intimidating.
Right off the start.
Yeah, right off the bat, I find it intimidating. Then also probably didn't help. I got stuck in the third dungeon with young Link, and I decided just to call it there.
Just be Gavin stuck in a dungeon simulator.
Yeah, moving in circles, dying like every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
In fact, the only Zelda game I've actually completed, and this isn't even a traditional Zelda game, was Hyrule Warriors. And that's because it had like actual objectives and is basically like a pseudo hack and slash.
I think I have that one too, just I haven't completed it.
Yeah.
One thing that I've heard though with the Zelda games is like each one has their own like peaks of like good about them, and then like they're not as good in other parts. Like I can't give an example because I don't know which is which, but some people are saying, for example, like Twilight Princess is really good in storytelling, but then isn't good in combat and like isn't good in progression. Mm-hmm. But then another one would be good in progression, but isn't good in combat and isn't good in like the story.
Yeah.
Like they don't have, from what I've heard and stuff, like they don't have like one that's good in everything. It's like they're all like they're like the Infinity Stones. Like they're all separated.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I just remember I saw an IGN list like a while ago of like the 100 greatest games of all time, and Breath of the Wild was number 1. And for some reason, like I just really could not agree with that. Like it's good, but like I don't know. It's good for people that can sink like hundreds of hours into a game, or that are willing to, because it's just so big.
Well, yeah, because isn't there there's a bunch of like collectible stuff in that game?
Yeah, collectibles.
There's a bunch of Korok seeds. I'm pretty sure it's either 999 or 1,000 Korok seeds. And then at the end you just get like a hat and like a couple other things, I think.
Yeah. It just doesn't sound worth it to me. Like
to put that on the top of all time, like that game's only probably when that came out was probably a couple of years ago. That game was only like at most 5 years old.
Yeah.
As like these other games that have been out for a long time, like have been evaluated and played more, and that one gets number 1.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like I'm not even sure what could even go on the number 1 spot. Like, I don't know. Like, there's always the obvious of like Tetris or something, like just like or like another all-time classic like Pong.
When in doubt, always pick Tetris.
Yeah, I mean, what's like the highest performing like for a few years.
Well, it's also pretty easy to pick up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see. I remember I saw BioShock, like the original BioShock at like 50 something, like 54. The first Dying Light did not appear at all, which I find really jarring because like people love that game to death. I don't think that the entirety of the Devil May Cry series showed up. Which is surprising because I would be sure that Devil May Cry 3 would at least made it.
Is that like the fan pick?
Yeah, people adore Devil May Cry 3 because it has an amazing story and the progression. It feels like very steady in the fact that it's challenging, like enough to make it feel like you earned those like all those like fought battles that you managed to get past, but like simple enough in terms of like basic mechanics that you can keep you coming back, I guess. And there's also weapons, and there's a game that introduced like the style mechanic,
the combo.
The combos were always there from the beginning, but is really with the third game that things really
improved on the combo.
Yeah, not to mention fan favorite characters like Virgil and Lady were introduced, and people compare the story of Devil May Cry 3 to a Shakespearean tragedy because of how it ends.
You can say it if we drop a spoiler.
Yeah. The game's like 18 years old, so, but yeah, spoiler anyway.
Skip like 5 minutes ahead if you don't want to hear.
Yeah. Well, not even 5 minutes, just like... Actually, yeah.
2.
2.
2 to 5.
Yeah, 2 to 5. Anyway, Dante kills Virgil. That's basically how it is.
No!
Yeah.
I don't know much about them, but I know that they're
brothers. Twins. And, like, the very tragic part about it is that Dante really didn't want it to get to that point, but Virgil kind of forced his hand. And he doesn't really kill Virgil, but Virgil kind of denies Dante's help and kind of dooms himself to being forced to survive in the underworld, which doesn't really end that well for him.
When you said forced to kill his brother, it just reminded me of the book that we just read in school.
Yeah,
but they're not really brothers. Yep. Yeah. Mice of Men. Yeah. So many people have probably read that book in school.
It's almost 100 years old, so yeah.
Well, do you want to get to our final topic?
Yeah. This one's going to be a bit of a shorter one. Well, at least in terms of topics. Let's see. 5 Sun Tzu quotes to help you overcome conflict.
Sun Tzu... We should probably explain why we picked this.
Yeah. Honestly, we kind of picked it because we thought it'd be kind of funny, I guess.
Yeah. If you haven't seen any of like the Sun Tzu memes on the internet, then that's just crazy.
Yeah. Like, for example, fuck bitches, get money, Sun Tzu. Which, obviously, he never said that, but, you know.
I mean, he did.
Let's see. Few books can claim as great an influence on the history of warfare as Sun Tzu's The Art of War, composed in China around 2,500 years ago. The military treatise found an ideology of war that would echo down Mao Zedong's communist revolution, spreading throughout East Asia. It guided Japan's warrior class during its own war-torn era and shaped the tactics of the Viet Cong. And after protracted struggles of the Vietnam War, U.S. brass brought Sun Tzu with them across the Pacific. Today, this art of war is studied in military academies worldwide.
I didn't know that.
Well, you know, I mean, if it survived for this long, then, you know, it must have some pretty good advice. However, this staying power is not a result of Sun Tzu's unbeatable battle plans. War has transformed invariably since China's warring states period. Any practical advice for navigating terrain, committing espionage, or leading a siege would be useless in the face of tanks, the internet, and precision guide munitions. I don't know, man. I think Sun Tzu could pull it off. If Sun Tzu could have witnessed the destructive capability of modern warfare, to say nothing of the horrors of nuclear weapons, his treaties might have been considerably shorter. Better not. Instead, the art of war remains relevant today because its author recognized conflict as a universal part of life. As such, it wasn't enough for him to review battle tactics of his day. He sought to explore the psychology of war and how we might harness it wisely.
Okay. If you heard me laughing in the background, I just pulled up top 10 Sun Tzu memes. You want to hear some quotes, Gavin?
Yeah, sure.
Flank 'em, then spank 'em. Sun Tzu. Retreat swiftly when the public affairs officer approaches.
Oh, God.
An empty browser history reveals more than a full one. When I die, I swear to God, I hope no one makes fake quotes from my book, Sun Tzu. Everybody is an atheist until they clog the toilet in someone else's house.
That sounds about right.
Flank them and spank them.
I like that one.
Always abandon your most strategic airbase right before an evacuation.
Wait a minute, what was that?
Always abandon your most strategic airspace right before an evacuation.
Yeah, that's about right.
Meme them until they cry, then make memes about them crying.
I gotta love memes.
Here's the last one. Whole warfare is based on quad charts. Sun Tzu.
Quad charts? What are those? Yeah, whatever. Let's see. The Art of War's universal approach has extended its influence far beyond the martial disciplines. Brazilian coach Luiz Felipe Scolari cited the treatise as inspired behind the strategies employed to win the 2002 World Cup. Oh, look at that. And its guidance has been further co-opted to apply to fields of far-ranging as politics, business management, and even esports. As Sun Tzu always said, hit the 360 no scope.
How is Sun Tzu leaking into esports?
And I remember seeing it in The Art of War. I read it earlier this week. It specifically said in
the
one
esports edition.
Yeah, it specifically said to make sure to hit the 360 no scope and then style on them when necessary, but always 360 no scope. Let's see. The Art of War holds a Taoist worldview. Sun Tzu was clearly inspired by the Tao Te Ching and borrowed liberally from Lao Tzu. Compare Sun Tzu. The form of water is to avoid high and go to the low. The form of military force is to avoid the full and attack the empty. To Lao Tzu's under heaven, nothing is more soft than yielding than water. Yet attacking solid and strong, nothing is better. As a Taoist, Sun Tzu makes humanistic approach to war and conflict. For him, the greatest victory isn't found in overcoming your opponent through strength, cleverness, or force of will. It's avoiding the battle altogether. A wise person, Sun Tzu contends, has a skill and wisdom to resolve conflict before it starts. For instance, a wise diplomat can get two nations to settle land dispute before violent escalation. Similarly, a wise friend knows how to use humor to ease tension before an argument breaks out. In both cases, the victory is found in the lack of conflict. That makes sense.
Should say this one, and then just read shit Sun Tzu memes.
Yeah. Everyone calls victory in battle good, but it is not really good. Or it's Sun Tzu. Similarly, Lao Tzu teaches peace and quiet are dear to sages' hearts. In victory, no cause for rejoicing. Of course, neither is saying that we can avoid conflict altogether. If conflict comes despite our best efforts to prevent it, then we can't be pushovers. We must resolve to end the conflict as quickly as possible and with as little damage done. However, if we win in the end, we shouldn't feel a sense of pride or accomplishment. Our efforts were damage controlled, nothing more. Huh. That's one way to see it. Makes sense. I found more. I mean, that's basically the sole benefit of ending a war early, just controlling damage so it doesn't get too out of hand. Yeah. And look at the Second World War. That spanned for 6 years, and it caused destruction like mankind has never seen, and it basically thrusted the world into the atomic age.
Yeah. Yeah, and I found more shit memes.
Let's go. Okay. So away from the serious, now to the funny.
Yep. This is how we're going to end the episode.
Yep, was just reading memes.
You let me pull these up so you can see it too. Never judge a video by its thumbnail.
Sun
Tzu. If victory is uncertain, quit to menu.
I don't think Sun Tzu would be the type to rage quit. Fat Sun Tzu.
I'm keeping this.
I should have that as my background.
The famous Sun Tzu quote. That. That guy got fucked up. LMAO.
Sun Tzu. Art of War. Get good, LMAO.
Every battle is won before it's fought.
That's probably an actual quote.
Nope, he's definitely capping on that one. Okay, let me find more funny Sun Tzu memes. Come on. There has to be more Sun Tzu memes than this. There's just no way.
Looking like at the other related stuff, there's a lot of Team Fortress 2 related stuff. Which I find funny.
Let's find a couple more.
These hoes ain't shit.
Sun Tzu. Let me in. I want a frick. Sounds like it was made by like a 5-year-old that couldn't say fuck.
Yeah. Be gone, thought. Let's see.
What?
Can
you imagine what I would do if I could do all I can?
And I'm not sure that's a real quote or not.
I looked up memes and I'm actually getting like official...
Yeah, actual quotes.
No, I don't want these. I love to flank them and spank them. Every battle is won. I already read that one.
Why's my pee?
Do them dirty in front of their dad. Sun Tzu, Art of War.
Why's my pee red? Sun Tzu.
Do you are have stupid? Sun Tzu. War art.
Never judge a video by its thumbnail. LMAO, just use Fireball.
How are we gonna end like this, Gavin?
Be mean to them on Facebook.
Ooh, I got one. Gavin, look at this one right here. See what that one says?
What?
See that? Just say yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what that one says?
What does it say?
Subscribe to the ExtraCasual podcast and give 5 stars. Or else I'll flank them and spank you.
Listen, man. Sun Tzu knew what I was talking about, so it might be worth it.
Yeah, I actually talked to that dude yesterday. It's pretty chill.
Yeah, it may or may not have been AI, but you don't have to know about that.
Whenever he talks to me, though, he always has to say Sun Tzu Art of War at the end of every single sentence.
Yeah.
Well, sadly, my boy Sun Tzu isn't here, Gavin, so I think you're gonna have to end it.
Yeah.
Here, let's end on a quote.
I remember I saw a good one. It's only a war crime if you lose. Well, with that little bit of knowledge, that will be it for this week. This has been your hosts, Gavin
and Ashton.
And we will see you next week, probably.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.